Hare Krishna, dear devotees, and welcome to today's session. How are you doing? I pray that all is well with you and your families at this time. So today we're moving on to the 10th text, the 10th verse, and we are on the day of the Kartik month special. Very special month, very opportunistic, very special month to get the mercy of the Lord in so many different ways. So as we're studying through this chapter, we're seeing actually the great kindness of Krishna, Bhavagrahi Janardana. And that's going to be the main theme moving forward. Krishna's kindness and the deep love of his mother, Mother Yashoda. So moving forward, so text number 10. Anvanchamana janani brihachalak Chroni barakranta gataha sumadhyama Javena visram sitakesha bandhana Chuta prasunam ugaha param rishat. Translation: while following Krishna, Mother Yashoda, her thin waist, overburdened by her heavy breasts, naturally had to reduce her speed. So we can see the race is on. We're catching it right in the peak, the climax of the Leela, where Mother Yashoda is got this stick in her hand and she's running behind Krishna. And it's describing the endeavor that she's making, because as we described, she is a cowherd woman. She's a gopi. And being a cowherd woman, she is not a skinny lady. She's a burly woman. So to move her heavy body with speed, because the child runs fast. So here we got the competition going on. Krishna with his small feet are taking quick steps, and Mother Yashoda with her big strides are taking smaller steps. But her challenge is that she's tiring. And it's something we don't ordinarily see, unless you grow up in that communal setting. Then you probably may see something like this. But it's not often that you're going to see a Mataji running with a sari. What to speak of Mother Yashoda? So it's such an amazing sight, because just to see Krishna running alone is so amazing, because everything he does is just so captivating. Then coming around the corner is Mother Yashoda in second place. And she's got the stick in her hand. So we don't know if they're playing relay or what. In school they used to have this relay team. You pass the baton from one person to the other and you run. So we don't know what's going on, because Mother Yashoda got the stick and she's running behind. But face is not saying that this is a relay race. Mother Yashoda's face is, she just wants to catch this fellow. So she's endeavoring with full heart. But she's a lady, she's an elderly mother, and she's running behind this boy. And with sari and everything. Nobody runs a race with sari. Yeah, Mother Yashoda is running with sari. We remember from our school days, they used to have some funny races in our time. Sack race. Put them in the bag, put them in the sack, and make them hop from one side to the other side. And they used to have bean bag race. It got replaced because eggs were getting expensive and it's not proper. So they made it bean bag race. And then used to have the wheelbarrow race. And then we see this relay race. Mother Yashoda is running behind Krishna. So those races they don't have anymore. And then all the war cries. Who are we? You don't even know who you are. That's why you came to Krishna consciousness. Now we're going to teach you who you are. Now we're going to teach you are the spirit soul. You're not this body. So, see, all those slogans helped. From those days we chanting, ooh, we. Now we're finally figuring it out. Oh, we are spirit soul. So, it used to really be fun. And those days, sports days, they'll give you one donut and one cool drink. Or a snowball, but something will be coming from the school side. And everybody used to be so happy, and children, everyone would be just in so good spirits. And of course, mother is also there with the biryani tin. And of course, mother is also there with the ice cream container and with the biryani. And when your race starts, number one favorite, mother will be screaming so loud, come on. Ooh. It used to be so amazing. Those days, I don't think they have sports like that now. The spirit of sports, the camaraderie of sports was just so amazing in those days. Maybe that was a different generation. Now, everything is online. So we go on with the translation. Prabhupada says here, because of following Krishna very swiftly, her hair became loose, and the flowers in her hair were falling after her. So you remember from the previous verses that this flower garland that the ladies wear in their hair, this particular flower was described as, who remembers? Malti flower, which is similar to a jasmine flower, but very heavily scented, beautiful smell. So as she's running now, even the flowers are falling from her hair. So you can see she's really endeavoring, When somebody is really endeavoring, something happens to the heart. You start to feel something in the heart. We say, feel sorry for them, man. You feel sorry. Why do you feel sorry? Because you can see the person is making so much effort. So Krishna has this nature also. Bhava Grahi Janardana. That he's so... the kindness in his heart for his devotees overwhelms him. It even overwhelms his judgment sometimes. That he just gives himself to his devotees. Even though he knows they're going to manipulate him, abuse him, ask for all material things. But sometimes Krishna also becomes overwhelmed and, okay, whatever you want, tadastu, he gives it. So the translation goes on. Yet she did not fail to capture her son, Krishna. So we can see Mother Yashoda's determination. And that is why when Krishna is describing his devotees, Satatam Kirtan, in the 9th chapter, he is describing Satatam Kirtayanto Mam Yetantascha Drita Vrata. That my devotees, they're always doing my chanting. Satatam Kirtan. Satatam Kirtayanto Mam. They're always doing my Kirtan. This is my devotees. But how they're doing it? Yetantascha Drita Vrata, with great determination. So we can see that determination, it's also there in the spiritual world. But determination on its own, because we use determination for motivating ourselves. But in and itself, it cannot last if you're not situated on the proper foundation. Determination is like a boost. But to take you all the way, you have to be situated in spiritual consciousness. Otherwise, just saying, oh, I'm determined to go for Mangal Aarti today. We can see that whole generation of Mangal Aarti is gone. Gone. Nobody even thinks of Mangal Aarti anymore. What to speak of going for Mangal Aarti? That whole generation in our time, even before, I know the other senior devotees used to tell me, devotees I'm remembering, like Prabha Vishnu Prabhu from Johannesburg. He used to stay in Amkumas at that time. And they used to come from Amkumas all the way to Durban Temple for Mangal Aarti on the weekends. So he used to tell me this, and I would say, wow. And this was one of the motivations for me to make sure I attend the Mangal Aarti. But now, that whole era of Mangal Aarti is gone. So gradually, as we'll compromise, this 10 years took away Mangal Aarti. Next 10 years, what it's going to take away from your practice. And remember, each thing that's taken away from your practice means further you'll go back into the material illusion. So it's scary, because what will we be left with after that? Gradually it will start attacking the chanting. That we are chanting, but we're just doing it to finish the rounds. Are we doing it with quality? We're hearing again and again, they're pulling the ears and telling, Guru Maharaj is pulling the ears and saying, chant attentive, chant properly. But are we getting to that stage? Or is it Maya is gradually pulling that away? Next 10 years, even that, we'll just manage to finish our 16 rounds. Remember, Bhakti Siddhanta's time, it was 64 rounds. His standard was that, but there was not so much preaching. In Prabhupada, he brought it down to 16 and he infused it with preaching, the preaching mission, the mood. So even that now, gradually, how many years we're trying to get this chanting right? Can't get it right because the foundation is not solid enough. There's a lot of cracks. And due to that, gradually we're losing the taste. And then of course Vaishnava Aparad, knowingly, unknowingly, how many devotees we offend. So that also has its effect on the chanting. Then Guru is given instruction and saying, don't do this, do like this, and we don't listen. Then to disobey the orders of the spiritual master is one of the 10 offenses against the holy name. So then we lose our taste there as well. So you can see in different ways, if we're not vigilant, then gradually, everything starts getting pulled away from us. And what are we left with? We think we're practicing. That itself becomes an illusion. That's an illusion that you think you're practicing. That's an illusion that you think in advancement. So my humble request to you devotees, you've come so far, don't cheat yourself now. There's just a few years left of life in this body to go. And if we keep compromising, Maya will keep taking. So be careful of this. Better take shelter of Krishna and do the right thing. Do what Guru is saying, do what Prabhupada is saying, and move ahead steadily. So the purport, Prabhupada says here in the purport, yogis cannot capture Krishna by severe penances and austerities, but Mother Yashoda, despite all obstacles. So even Mother Yashoda has obstacles. But this is the mood of encouragement for the devotee, that don't think your spiritual life is going to be a walk in the park. It's not a walk in Vrindavan yet. You have to create that foundation of Vrindavan. Then you can walk in Vrindavan. If you walk and you think it's Vrindavan and it's not, there's going to be problem. So Prabhupada is encouraging here that through all obstacles, the devotee is determined to grow, determined to move ahead. Why? Because he's focused on the destination. What is the destination? Vrindavan, back to Godhead. That's why again and again, if you don't focus on the destination, what will give you the impetus to go there? Because everything else will be material. If your desire is that I'm suffering and I don't want to suffer anymore, that's why I'm going to go back to Godhead. That is a Jnani idea. That is Jnani, detachment. 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita is saying this. You have to first detach, then you attach to Krishna. But Bhakti says no, first attach to Krishna. By that attachment, by his kindness, your endeavor and mercy. 2 fingers too short. Remember that from the Damodar Leela. So by your effort and endeavor, gradually you will lose the taste for those material things. So we don't give up anything. We just attach to Krishna. And Prabhupada gives the example that if you have poison in a cup and you keep pouring milk, eventually the milk will dilute and eventually it will throw out, it will overflow the cup. And if you keep pouring and pouring and pouring, eventually you'll only get milk in the cup. So that is our process of detachment. We keep hearing and hearing and hearing about Krishna, and we keep serving and serving and serving in devotional service. By the effect of these two things, in association with devotees, gradually all the impurities in the heart is cleansed. Nasta prayesu abhadresu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavate uttama sloke bhakti bhavati naistiki. So gradually all these things are cleared out from the heart. So Krishna is doing it. Vidanoti surat satham. He's clearing from the heart. He is doing. So it goes on to say, obstacles was finally able to catch him, was finally able to catch Krishna without difficulty. So how to capture somebody who is unlimited? Because as soon as you capture, you're limiting him. You're creating boundaries around him. To capture anything, you have to create a boundary around it. So how do you create a boundary for a being that's unlimited? You can only do it by love, because love summons that person. So we use Krishna's kindness to summon him. We use his kindness together with our love. That's why in the beautiful Damodarastikam, that when Mother Yashoda was trying to bind Krishna, it ended up 2 fingers too short. We'll cover that when we come to that point. So the translation goes on. This is the difference between a yogi and a bhakta. Yogis cannot enter even the effulgence of Krishna. So Prabhupada is saying here, this is the difference, that we are following. Bhagavad Gita is speaking about yoga. But all those other yoga processes in Gita, Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Astanga Yoga, all of them only lead to the Brahman effulgence. Because there's no relationship. Sambandha Jnana. There is no sambandha, there is no relationship with Krishna. You're doing it because of you as the motivation. That's why we were saying yesterday in a very strong class that we simply manipulate the Lord because of our material desires, material wantings. But the devotee, he learns to love the Lord first through bhakti. And by doing that, he harnesses the kindness of Krishna. And by that kindness, Bhava Grahi Janardana, that mercy of Krishna through our endeavor. This is the whole Damodar Leela pastime. Mother Yashoda, look at how she's running. Flowers are falling. She's perspiring. She's endeavoring so much. So Krishna is looking at this and he's saying, although I'm fearful, but I can't see Mother endeavoring like this. So he's fearful, but he puts his emotions aside. He puts his fear aside. Why? Because he's seeing how she's endeavoring. So this is the give and take of bhakti, of love. Devotee gives, Krishna takes. Krishna gives, devotee takes. This is reciprocal relationship between Krishna and his devotee. So Prabhupada goes on to say here, Yasya prabha prabhavato jagadanda kotish, 5.40 Brahma Samhita. So this verse in Brahma Samhita is describing Yasya prabha prabhavato jagadanda kotish asesha vasudha vibhuti bhinnam tat brahman nishkalam anantam ashesha bhutam govindam adi purusham tamaham bhajame. So 5.40 of Brahma Samhita is describing that all these planetary systems are within the effulgence of Krishna, the Brahman effulgence. We also have a small Brahman effulgence on our bodies called the aura of the human body. So we are minute, we are Anu, and Krishna is Vibhu. So we are minute, so we have a small aura, only 3-4 feet it goes. And for somebody who is a little more advanced, it can go up to 10 to 12 feet, the aura around the body. But Krishna, the Supreme Being, he is unlimited aura. And his aura is called the Brahman effulgence. And from that, all these planets are floating within that. So that's the furthest point the yogi can go for his effort. Why? Because he never took the time to cultivate Sambandha Gyan, relationship with Krishna. What will please Krishna? Not what I think will please Krishna. What will actually please him? Find out from the devotees and do it. That's why he's saying, Satatam Kirtayanto Mam. They're always doing my chanting. They're always singing my glories with great determination. That's something Krishna appreciates. The fact that he mentions that in Bhagavad Gita means he appreciates that. So do it. So go ahead and do it. This will please Krishna. This is what we are saying. Especially in Kali Yuga, this is the process. Harinam, Harinama, Harinama eva kevalam, kalo nastyeva, nastyeva, nastyeva gatiranyata. Gati, gataha. The verse today we read about gata, gataha, the goal. So that is the highest that can be achieved in Kali Yuga. Don't waste your time with other things. They are not part of they're not for this age. Yes, there are different processes of worshipping, but they are not for this age. Kalo nastyeva. This is the process for this age. And there's no other way, no other way, no other way. Nastyeva, nastyeva, nastyeva. This is very strong Sanskrit. So it goes on to say, in that effulgence there are millions of universes, but yogis and jnanis cannot enter that effulgence even after many, many years of austerities. Whereas bhaktas can capture Krishna simply by love and affection. So Krishna is captured only by love. Prema madhurya. These different madhuryas, Rupa madhurya, he captures by beauty. By his beauty he'll capture you. And by the beauty of your love, he becomes captured. Because as soon as you don't want anything, there's only one thing to want. That's him. Because everything else is a tinge of material desire. Think about that. If you can find something separate from Krishna that's not material, impossible. Everything separate from Krishna is matter. And everything connected to Krishna directly becomes spiritual. Even matter becomes spiritual when it's connected to Krishna. Just see. This is the potency of bhakti. Because only bhakti can transform matter into a spiritual nature. That's why we're offering ordinary food, it's becoming prasadam. Just see when the connection with Krishna is there, what can happen. Even the very thing, matter, that can become spiritual. So Prabhupada goes on to say, this is the example shown here by Mother Yashoda. Krishna therefore confirms that if one wants to capture him, the secret is being given. What should we do? One must understand devotional service. There's the secret. If you want to capture Krishna, you must understand devotional service. And then he quotes this verse that we've been quoting almost every session. Bhakti mam abhigyanati yavanyaschasma tatvataha tato mam tatvato gyatva visate tatanantaram. So that's Bhagavad Gita 18.55. So what is the the translation is, bhaktas enter even the planet of Krishna very easily, but the less intelligent yogis and jnanis, by their meditation, remain running after Krishna. Even if they enter Krishna's effulgence, they fall down. So bhakti mam abhigyanati. I can only be known by bhakti, no other process. So if we take this philosophy serious and understand it from the heart, because usually philosophy is from the mind, this philosophy is understood from the heart, then it can change the heart and we can develop this deep loving relationship with Krishna, just like Mother Yashoda and Damodar. So I hope you enjoyed today's class. Please join us again tomorrow. Hare Krishna.